was the power. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Supercar Diaries. My name is Bjorn, and today you sent us a few questions on Instagram which we're going to be answering you while driving this car, the Novitec Ferrari F8. Now, we have already made a film on the Ferrari F8, but that was filmed in the middle of December last year and it was cold and we couldn't get any traction. Yes! But since this is Germany, it's 5 months later, and the situation is very similar to then, except today the road is dry. So we're really looking forward to the drive. However, just before we do that, one of the questions somebody asked was, what's the difference between the Ferrari F8 and the Novitec Ferrari F8? So basically what we do is we do some optical changes and some mechanical changes. Optical changes, largely thanks to some carbon fiber that you can see on the front here of this car, on the hood. It continues on the side, some bits on the mirrors and the side skirts, and at the back at the air intakes and then the rear diffuser. Sometimes the exhaust tips have some carbon fiber caps as well, and then there's a really nice spoiler at the back. On the Pista you have a lot of carbon fiber that actually comes from Ferrari with the Pista, and you can see over here that the carbon fiber looks very different to that which you see on the front of the F8. The difference between these two cars at this point in time is the fact that this engine is fitted with a standard exhaust pipe from the Pista. This one is fitted with our race performance exhaust system, which not just adds to the power, but gives it a ridiculous sound, which we'll listen to right now. This is our neighborhood friendly button. Loving your neighbors, you can keep it closed like that, or now let's listen. It rides lower on that sport suspension. It's got a pair of rims. That's our NF10 rims in collaboration with Vossen. Really good looking wheels, and it's a center lock look. So it's not a real center lock, it just looks like that. And that of course hides a phenomenal carbon ceramic disc brake, which I think is an imperative addition to any supercar. But I think right now we've said enough. Let's get into this car and take it for a drive. So, as you guys can see, we've got somebody else in the car with us. Everybody say hi to Josh.
Hello.
Hi Josh. Josh is a fan, he's a subscriber, so we thought, why don't we take Josh along to help us with the questions that you asked us on Instagram. Josh, this is the first time for you in
a Ferrari.
This is not any Ferrari.
So I gotta admit, I'm a little bit nervous, but I think it will go away.
But for the moment, you're gonna have to make me do with that.
Holy. Okay. Can't hide my emotions there. Sorry. I actually hold the grip here because I thought great.
See why I mentioned the carbon ceramic brakes?
Very important. And you can hear the turbos coming into game very good.
That's such a nice thing.
But
I really love that.
But it's not too much. It's not overplaying the engine.
Race is the mode in which everything is just made so that this car is ridiculous.
Listen to that.
What's really great about this car is that it has two turbos, and they sort of work in conjunction to keep you in the power range the whole time.
The first question is from Maximus Point M1S. How much horsepower?
What is important is the fact that this one has been tuned by us. We've got that n-tronic plug and play stage 2 performance system that we fit to this car along with a race performance exhaust system, and now it churns out, you ready for it?
Yes.
802 horsepower and too short of 900 Newton meters of torque, which feels a little bit like this. Right, Josh, next question.
Yes, you were talking about the sport suspension, which kind of leads to the next question by Issei NBXBS. What does the spec cost without the car?
It has to be said, in every country you have different import taxes and so on and so forth, so that changes the prices on these things. So there's no one price that's going to be the same all around the world. For us here in Germany, the kit on this car, these are individual parts that you can fit onto the car by taste. You can have that rear spoiler if you want. You could say, oh well, I'm not into the spoiler thing, I'd rather like to have the carbon lip. All of these things you can individually choose, and there are different prices for all of them. But the kit as you see it now, 55,000 euros netto.
How long was the design and production time on this kit? So what times can come in while preparing for a kit like this?
Well, it takes an extensive amount of time, because it's not just sort of thinking, oh well, the carbon bit would look really good there. You put the wrong shape on a car like this at a certain speed. All of these things together, probably looking at about 5 to 6 months. I think that could be a safe number. Okay. Yeah.
Leading us to the next question from Lucas Mara 7S. Is it good to drift?
Next question.
Okay. What's the speed in reverse?
Good question. Josh, where
try that
can we find a spot to try that out? Joshua, where are we going? Maybe this is a good section to do the reverse
rückwärts. Rückwärts.
Rückwärtsgang. To get the hang of this.
That's fast. Another good question. I think we have to put that on ice too. What's the weight of the car? Excluding me, because wouldn't be fair. Wouldn't be fair.
I'm not 100% sure, but I have an idea. 1,560 kilos. Well done, because you said it was 1.5.
Yeah.
And I was like 1.4. It's so funny, where you're driving your 2-liter turbocharged hatchback, whatever, and it's so quick, and then you like, oh, I got to show my mates, and you're like, hey, come on guys, pile in, all 5 of them in the car, and you're like, it's not going. And yeah, it's the same thing. I think the less a car weighs, the more difference the weight makes to that. I just ruined this by being stuck behind a tractor.
Well, you're gonna fix that. But maybe we have time for another question, because one question from Stumpy the Corgi is, do you have a picture of the Novitec boot lid for the F8 Spider, looking to order one?
So I'll probably give you a bit more than just the boot lid. There is, I think, a render of the oncoming F8 n-largo.
Did you say there will be an F8 n-largo? Because that's another question from Invisible.
Yes, as far as I know, there will be. I'm almost sure that I saw a rendering in the office of what seems, in my opinion, to be exactly that.
Makes me extremely curious about it, because the n-largo kit's so much wider.
The n-largo kit is wider. It's almost like the Esteso. It has such a presence on the road. It's just a phenomenal development.
Talking about the F88 Pista, which we have driven before, we have
488.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have a question from John Hoos, and his question was, how much more different is it to a 488 Pista driving-wise? Is this better or is it worse?
It's a tough question, John. So yeah, pretty much the same engine, 3.9 litre twin turbocharged V8 engine, and the Stage 2 performance package will give you exactly the same amount of horsepower and torque on both cars. So it really comes down to weight, aerodynamics, and so on and so forth. And I think then when the element of difference is so minuscule, it's probably down to what kind of tires, road temperature, how much fuel in the tank, and the ability of the driver to do the rest. And I think, give or take a couple of milliseconds, that'll make out the difference between those two. Yes. So as we said before, previous film driving the F8 was on wet, moist conditions, so I really did not have any reference as to how powerful this car is. At the moment, it feels equally as exhilarating as the 488 Pista, but it felt, the Pista did feel a little bit more insane, but maybe that was just because we had confined spaces.
We have a question about the rims.
Which is?
From Anto Keys. What are the rims on the F8 Novitec called? Are they with a Vossen collaboration?
Yes, it's a special collaboration with Vossen, creating specific rims for the Novitec Ferraris, and this particular one on this car is called the NF10, but we also make the NF9 and the NF8, and it has a center lock look, which means that it's not a real center lock. It's got a little 5 bolts in there, but it just looks like a center lock. So
gotta agree that.
And in the Lamborghinis, funny enough, you can actually purchase a true center lock. So the optic will be exactly the same, but it'll then, well, you basically just have one nut.
Yeah.
You know what, this is not a question, Josh. It's something I personally felt in the video that we did of the F8 in the beginning. And that is that I would daily this car. If I would daily it, I would probably try and find a compromise with the suspension so that it's just a bit more comfortable, depending on the roads that you mostly drive. But I fully believe that it's possible to daily an F8. Josh, I think that's about it for now, right? I think it's really cool that you came along. Thank you so much. And we're hoping, of course, somewhere in the future to take with some of our lovely viewers out there. We'd love to encourage you guys. If you haven't yet, please feel free, head over to our account, hit that subscriber button and the little notification bell to the right-hand side. That way, you're not going to miss a single time we upload a new film. Thank you so much. We started Supercar Diaries with 56,000, now 95,000. We're super thankful. Help us get over the 100,000. We'd really like that. You can follow us on Instagram at Novitec Group, or you can follow me personally at Beyond the Cock. And I think right now, let's see what she sounds like.
That's totally
if we
Ferrari.
Open up the flaps. And on that note, everybody, have a fantastic week. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Joshua likes the Ferrari.
Yeah,
Joshua likes the Ferrari.
I'm in love. I never experienced something like this, and I have not thought that it will be such mental, really.
Yeah.